What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another breakdown here on the Playmaker Podcast Network. I'm your host, the fight analyst Garrett Kerman. With me, as always, is my man, the Joe Danger, Jesse Hobson. What's up, man? How's it going?
Oh, just swimming in these winds. Did you watch the fight card last week?
I think I did. I'm almost certain I did. Especially if everybody was following me. I think they knew. I think they would know that I did watch the fight card. Did you? How did you like the fight card last weekend?
Well, as much as I loved winning, I was really I the OMalley fight. Let's talk about the OMalley fight first.
Right.
Amazing fight, fantastic fight.
It was a great fight.
So close. Did O'Malley win? What was the score on your cards?
29-28.
Yan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I gonna scream robbery? No. Because it was close. But if you give Aljo the win over Yan due to control and ground time, you have to kind of do the same for Yan against O'Malley. It's just the way it goes. I mean, I don't know how you could score it one way and then now you score it the other way. We have to have some type of consistency here. If you're only going with damage, then only score damage, okay? And I totally get it. Yeah. But that's not the case here. That's not the scoring criteria. You guys are flip-flopping and you're fucking up careers. So it's like these guys don't know what they're supposed to do to win. And everybody's saying, "Oh, don't leave it in the hands of the judges." Like it's so hard. Like how easy do you think it really is to knock another grown man unconscious? That's one of the best fighters in the fucking world. How that's not easy to do. So saying, "Oh, don't leave it in the hands of the judges" is bullshit. Because you're at the best, fighting the best in the world. It's not easy to finish your opponent. So it leaves them. That's why there's judges for. They don't fight to the death. They have judges to judge the fight. That's what I don't understand. I'm not saying it's a bad decision, but we're going. You have to have judges that's uniform.
Competent.
Yeah. I mean, it's not even about competence. It's about uniformity. This guy's judging it this way. This guy's judging it that way. And then the third one's judging it this way. So it's like there's nothing uniform. These fighters don't know what's going to give them a win in the judges' scorecards.
I guess the biggest issue for me is that O'Malley performed insanely well. Win, lose, draw, whatever, right? But because of the controversy, him actually being looking good, it's overlooked. Because of the controversy. Now, had he lost, it would have been a moral victory for him. Dude, he looked good, but he didn't win. His stock would have still rose.
Yep.
But because of him being almost gifted a win, it almost gets overshadowed by the weirdness. And then now you got Yan talking about leaving the UFC, and it's just like you said, they're ruining people's careers. At the end of the day, it was a fantastic fight. Obviously, it sucks that I lost money on it because I had a huge parlay, and that's the only loss that I had in my parlay. But sometimes I'll take a loss just because I would rather watch a good fight. So it sucks, but at the same time, that's why we bet on this shit. Just because it's so anything can happen, and that's what got me into UFC, MMA. Fighting in general. That's why I like this stuff. Who would have ever thought that we would get Jake Paul fighting anybody,
Right.
it's a wacky world we're living in. And if I can sit down and watch two guys basically murder each other for 15 minutes, I'll lose $15 here and there.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely with you. It's definitely one of the best sports to bet on because there's so much volatility that it just makes it that much more dangerous to bet on, especially if you're betting on these heavy favorites. But yeah, I mean, it was a great fight. It could have gone either way. I can't say robbery, but every media person took Yan to win. So we're talking 100% clean sweep Not a single person thought O'Malley won that, but that's neither here nor there. We're not judges; they're not judges. So, we'll that's another conversation for another day. But before we get going, I need to pat myself on the fucking back over here for calling Islam Makhachev from day motherfucking one.
Day 0. You've been saying it before he was like even a topic.
Man, I was saying it. I was telling everybody he is a terrible matchup for Charles Oliveira. He beat him in every aspect of that fight. Standing in the clinch, where everybody thought he had advantage in the clinch, he didn't have advantage. Where everybody thought he had advantage on stand-up, he didn't have the advantage. He had no advantages anywhere in that fight. Even off his back, he wasn't doing anything. Nothing. He got back to his feet, and that was it. And that was the end of all ends. It was just crazy because like I saw it exactly how I envisioned it happening. So I had to pat myself on the back because it was beautiful because everybody was doubting me. All you Charles Oliveira bettors were doubting me because I was talking all this shit. And I totally get it because I was talking a lot of shit.
Dariush, Muhammad.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of calls that you made right last week.
Yeah.
I guess whatever we can do to get past the Wadu, you know what I mean?
Force Daniels is here to take shame for picking Charles Oliveira to win. See, at least you admit it. But the thing is, it's not a bad bet in theory because you're talking about taking the two-time defending the guy that's defended the belt twice, okay, at plus money.
Who wouldn't take that bet?
Right. I understand it. I get it. I mean, but I just knew he was just going to lose that fight. It was just a bad stylistic matchup. I like Oliveira literally against everybody at 155, maybe minus Beneil Dariush, but everybody else, I think he just kind of walks over. So, I mean, but that's neither here nor there. No one is beating Islam now. No one. Not a soul. He's going to retire just like Khabib, the 155-pound GOAT. He's the better version of Khabib because he can actually fight you on the feet. He doesn't have to bum rush you and take you down. He can beat you on the feet. He's very technically sound. He's very defensively sound on the feet. So he's a problem. I don't see anybody beating him. I think the only one that's going to give him the biggest test is Beneil Dariush, just because he's been there, done that, fought elite competition. He's, he's got good grappling. He's got good power.
He has God on his side. So it's like...
that too.
Yeah, it's God versus Muhammad, literally. And, I think that'll be interesting if they do ever book that fight.
It's gonna be a good fight. I don't think it's good. I think it's gonna be more competitive than any other fight in the division, though. Forrest Daniels is saying he's picking Islam to beat Volkanovski, rightfully so. I think he's like a minus 400 or minus 450 favorite right now against Volkanovski. I don't expect him to have any ounce of a chance in that fight. Really, it's going to be another fight where he goes and finishes him by submission.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of that fight. Like, I don't see the interest in it. Like,
it's just trying to win 2 belts. And 145-pound is really stagnant right now, very stalemate. No one's going to be Volkanovski, so they're like, might as well try to make a double champ out of it just to make it a spectacle. And plus, they're going to Australia, so that's probably their main event.
Yeah, it has to be. Which I don't know. There's so much more you could do.
Well, as far as an Australian fighter manning the headline of that pay-per-view, the only one in question, the only one that you can is Volkanovski. No one else.
Yeah, I mean, had they scored the last Whitaker fight, or the Whitaker and what's his name,
Izzy
fight, the Izzy fight correctly, then we would have that.
That is true. That would have been the third installment of that fight. But we got Izzy coming up in a few weeks against Alex Pereira, which is going to be bonkers of a fight. Just a little foreshadowing. I will be betting Izzy quite large in that fight. Just saying.
I think that makes sense. Like, anyway, we'll get there. But don't you have a fight card coming up?
I think so. I think we're having too much fun boasting in our glory over here for UFC 280. But let's get down to the breakdown. UFC Vegas 63 on top. We got a featherweight tilt between two of the top contenders in the division. Calvin Kattar taking on Arnold Allen. Great fight there. But let's start on the prelims. The first fight up is a fight at 135 pounds between newcomer Joshua Weems and Christian Rodriguez. Right now, Rodriguez minus 380 all the way up to minus 400 favorite. Come back on Weems plus 310. Yeah.
Damn, that's a crazy line. And I almost might take a stab on Weems. That is wild. So I broke this down before I had a line. Okay, so it makes you wonder what kind of shape Weems is in coming in on short notice.
Heard he's in great shape.
I noticed. I liked C-Rod before, and I'm gonna have to side with them in this matchup as well. Despite being fairly young, Weems has an interesting record. Some boxing, some MMA, and some bare knuckle. Ultimately, I think C-Rod is the better of the two, and sadly, I think this is going to go a lot like Weems' contender loss, overhand right to ground and pound. So I like Rodriguez by KO, but now that you kind of dropped the line on me, why wouldn't you take a stab on Weems here? Rodriguez
absolutely. He's a wild card. He's a wild card.
That's interesting. Because they're not that too far away from each other. And then also Weems does look to be in really, really good shape. You know, he wants to be here. He's hungry.
Oh no, he's hungry as shit. Like he was waiting for this opportunity. I'm not saying it's a walk in the park. It's a bet a 300 a 310 underdog, but it's a shot that, you know, I'm willing to take over and over again. This is a guy that's, you know, he's taken short notice opportunities multiple times. He's fought all combat sports, boxing, bare knuckle, MMA, all of it.
And he's won in them all.
Right. And he mixes things up well. He's a dog too. The dude just loves to fight. And he's going to bring that dog in this fight. Chris Rodriguez, good fighter. But he's fought nobody. Other than his last fight, it was a short notice fight at 145, where he was just completely undersized against Jonathan Pierce. But other than that, he's fought literally nobody in his 7 professional fights. Horrible competition. Weems has fought at least decent competition. He's submitted Mo Miller, who is a standout wrestler and one of the top prospects coming into the Contender Series. You know, so yeah, I would take a shot on Weems. I'm not saying it's you know, he might get starts in the first round. Who knows? But I'd rather take a shot on Weems at plus 300 than I would lay minus 400 juice on Rodriguez.
That is some crazy juice. And Rodriguez looks and seems, the footage that I watched is he's very green. So like, who's to say he gets in there? You know, he did fight Pierce, as you mentioned. He got handled by Pierce, but who's to say he gets in there and, you know, he actually has an opportunity to win here and just shits the bed? It's very possible.
Absolutely. And that line is so egregious.
It's weird.
Like I kind of feel, I had a feeling he was gonna be such a massive favorite. So that's to the point where I'm like, okay, maybe you take a little bit of a shot on Weems. I don't know. Yeah, but I feel like there's a lot of dogs in this card. I'm telling you, man, there's a lot that could be barking. But we'll see as we keep going through this card. Next up, we got a fight at flyweight between Cody
the Durden
taking on short notice newcomer, LFA flyweight champion Carlos Moda. Moda minus 165 to come back on
Cody the Durden.
Plus 140. What do you got?
Yeah, you already know. Hard not to bet Durden here, you know, because he's the shit, you know. Anyway,
literally, he's a turd.
Yeah, exactly. You know, Moda has an impressive record, but you know, who has he beat? And his step up against Charles Johnson lost. I'd be willing to bet, because I'm going to bet, that Durden weathers the Moda storm and gets the finish in round 2 or 3. You can see that Moda likes the early finish, and Durden fights all 15 minutes. And if you remember from our interview, he's hungrier more now than he ever has been. Give me Durden KO in round 2 or round 3. I feel like it's might as well just start counting your winnings, brother.
Yeah, this is definitely a great dog spot. They're underestimating Durden. Durden has a full fight camp at American Top Team for this fight. Yes, he was going to fight against Clayton Rodriguez, who is a kicker, very much like Mota. So there's no game plan change whatsoever. Mota's taking this fight on short notice, going against a relentless grappler and Durden. And who's really testing Mota's takedown defense? No one really at all. And now he's going to have to, defend takedowns after making a cut to 125 on short notice, going 15 minutes defending takedowns. Durden is going to make him work for it. And then Durden's got a chin on him. Let's not forget that. Yes, he took a flying knee from Muhammad Makayev, but it was a flying knee. I mean, he didn't see it coming. It's different when you're waiting for a head kick, or you have a chance to block. That was a flying knee that just came out of nowhere. If you saw him go against Arichi Lang, he took all those punches from Arichi Lang. Arichi Lang has, when he was at 125, he had some of the biggest power in that division. He's got insane power. And that's where Mota is most dangerous, because he has a lot of power. And I feel like Mota's going to come heavy. He's going to come heavy early and often. And I feel like Durden's going to catch one of those kicks, and take him down, take his back, and just kind of control him. Then that's going to slow him down. He's not going to be able to just keep coming and pushing forward, because he's going to get taken down and controlled. So yeah, give me Cody Durden plus 140. I just can't fathom not taking him here as a dog.
Didn't you get him at 150?
I did.
Yeah, because he's good.
He is.
And obviously money is coming in on him, so we are not the only, I guess, patrons of Turdenville, if you will. But yeah, I'm hoping he does well. I think that there's all the writing on the wall. Good wrestler, but he also has heavy hands. So I think he does get him out round 2, round 3.
Yeah, and we have Forrest Daniels over here. Cody Durden is my underdog pick due to his opponent has no fight camp for this fight. That's true. Also, Durden is a finisher. Also true. He's betting Durden to win. To win. LFA versus UFC. Yes. And Durden is a good wrestler too. Yes. All agreed there, Mr. Daniels. Moving on.
He's pretty cute too.
Yeah, the Durden all day. I need to get him that shirt made and just send it to him.
Yeah, just don't tell him.
just I'll send it to ATT and just to give it to him.
I'll go halfsies with you.
All right, moving on. Our next fight up is in the featherweight division between Chase Hooper and Steve Garcia. Right now, Hooper minus 295 to come back on Garcia plus 245. What do you got?
Garcia is starting to show his age, and Hooper is finally starting to find his own.
Yes.
Makes you wonder if he's ever used the line, "I'm in the UFC" to get his dick sucked. Anyway, Garcia has a submission loss, and he has a loss to Ricky Tercios. That's enough for me to take Hooper. I mean, you could take him by sub or decision, but minus 220 was a gift, in my opinion. Steve Garcia is not winning this fight. So, yeah, again, another one. I just add Hooper in your parlays. We're getting it done.
I'll be surprised if Steve Garcia even makes weight, let alone win this fight. This guy hasn't made 145 in a while. They made him go to 155 because he couldn't make 145, and then he couldn't make 135, so he had to go to 145. Once he went to 145, missed 145, now he's at 155. And now he's back down to 145. This is ridiculous. Not been impressed with him whatsoever. Hooper, he's starting to come to his own. We saw him in the Felipe Colares fight. He looked good, and they're giving him a fight that he should win.
Yep.
They want Hooper to grow. They want Hooper to look good. And this is a fight where Hooper should look good. I'm a big fan of Chase Hooper. I want to see him do well. And I think the UFC brass wants him to do well as well. So I think Hooper goes in there. He probably gets a takedown with some ugly clinch work, trip or whatever. Probably gets him out and just finishes him with some ground and pound like he did Kolaris.
So you think he's going to win ground and pound?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was thinking sub or decision. So
well, he fucked up Kolaris in the last fight.
I remember, but and he was so proud of himself too. Like
yeah, I would be too. Fuck.
Yeah,
if I was Chase Hooper and then I fuck somebody up like that, hell yeah.
Just having a KO on your record is cool, but like to be Chase Hooper and getting a KO on your record,
that's
it's like get that boy some milk.
All right, next fight up, we got a fight in the middleweight division between Jae-Young Park and Joseph Ugly Man Holmes. I think that is Ugly Man, right?
Yeah, that's it. Or ugly boy, ugly man. It's one of them.
Yeah, one of them. Supposedly he's ugly, but he's really not.
I think he's pretty handsome. Like I like his mustache too.
His mustache is pretty dope. And he's got, I think, one of the longest reaches in the UFC. I think it's like 85 inches, something crazy like that.
It's insane.
Yeah. So right now the line's set at minus 225 for Park. The comeback on Holmes plus 190. What do you got?
Yeah, I like the stab on Holmes here. You know, Park is a tough out for anyone, but earlier this week Park was minus 240, and you said it's minus 225 now. I just can't lay that money on Park. You know, like that is a crazy line. Holmes is younger, he's bigger, he's longer, as you mentioned. While Park should be able to wrestle his way to victory, I'm counting on him to make a mistake and Holmes to capitalize on said mistake. Park has lost, by decision, and I think there's all the writing on the wall for Holmes to mess up all of your parlays. I like Holmes by submission, but I wouldn't be surprised if Park overcommits and just gets hit. I know he's tough, but he is not invincible. I think that the sub is a bit more likely, but either way, Holmes at plus 190, plus 200. I think that's worth and very reasonable of a stab.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think Holmes is definitely worth a play here. I don't think Park should be a minus 220 favorite. He barely got a win over Eric Anders in his last fight, which was atrocious. I thought he lost. He got taken down. He was controlled for the majority of the fight against the fence. And he just wasn't doing much on the feet. I think Holmes can hurt him on the feet, and Holmes is definitely the better submission threat on the mat as well. So I just think this line is egregious. I think it's a little bit off. Do I think Park should be the favorite? Yeah, but I would line it around minus 140 to plus 120. So I think we're getting a ton of value on Holmes here. And you can even take Holmes inside the distance at plus 380. I mean, why not?
Yeah, I agree.
That did sound good. How good was it though?
He's like, dude, yeah, I guess all in on Holmes. All in on Holmes.
All right. Keeping it moving. Our next fight up is in the heavyweight division between Andre the Pitbull Arlovski and Marcos Rogerio de Lima. Right now, de Lima minus 245 to come back on Arlovski plus 205. Who do you got?
Yeah, another case of interesting lines here.
Right?
Yeah, these lines, these odds are very baffling in my opinion. Arlovski is old, but Lima isn't in his prime either. Arlovski has the height, the reach. He's faced and beaten the better opponents. Maybe Lima can knock him out, but when is the last time Arlovski was knocked out?
Right.
2019. And before that, 2017, and that was against Ngannou. Even if the Pitbull loses this, the value is on him. Take Arlovski while you can. The odds are insane. Also, Lima's coming off a loss, so I really just don't get it. I like Arlovski by decision, but if you can get him a plus money, do it.
Yeah, I mean, you also got to look at who Arlovski is beating. I mean, and this is a guy that has the style that wins on the judges' scorecards because he doesn't get hit that often, doesn't get hit that hard. De Lima is a guy that fades in every single fight. He looked bad against Blagoy Ivanov, who's literally the most stationary target you could actually like find. He doesn't move at all. He's like a little bowling ball. And then Arlovski is a different case, someone who is extremely hard to hit. His opponents are only landing 43% of the time against him. That's pretty damn good. They're only landing 3.20 strikes per minute against him. That's pretty damn good for a guy that's 43 years old and he's fought the best of the best. He's 6-7. He's 6. He's got 6 wins out of his last 7 fights, and his last loss was to Tom Aspinall. And the loss before that was Rosenstruik. You think De Lima is anywhere remotely on the same wavelength as any of those guys? Yes, I know he was gifted a win against Collier. He might have even lost the fight against Vandura. But on top of it, he's got the style that just makes it hard for you to choose De Lima. You know, yep. and who De Lima has beaten? Nobody. I mean, his best win was Ben Rothwell, which was over a year. It was a year ago. And that was it. I mean, other than that, Maurice Green, Ben Sassoli, 2 guys not in the UFC. Adam Wazorik, not in the UFC. Jaron Kimball, not in the UFC. Clint Hester, not in the UFC. Igor, I don't know what the fuck that is, not in the UFC.
Yeah, none of them.
None. And the majority of his losses, those aren't in the UFC either. Like, Stefan Shu isn't there. Antigulov not there. Mike Kyle, whoever the heck that is, not there. But yeah, and now you're getting De Lima at 37 years old as a minus 200 favorite. That's fucking absurd. And I feel Arlovski is a must bet at plus 200. Yes, must. Am I saying is it a lock? No, but it's a must bet based on the odds at hand. You're getting 2-1 on your odds. The more times you make these type of bets, the more times you're going to come out in the green. You got to think of it as a long run. Maybe you lose this one, let's say, okay? But if you consistently make these type of bets, you're going to be positive at the end, and these are one of those bets. Arlovski, 6-1 in his last 7. De Lima is 2-2 in his last 4. 3-2 in his last 4. In his last 3 wins, they're not in the UFC. So I feel like this is a no-brainer. Arlovski plus 200 or better, must bet that shit. Yeah, and I agree with that. Arlovski either gets slept in under 3 minutes or he cruises to a split decision. Possibly. I feel like De Lima needs to get the first round knockout because he's going to fade. I mean, let's look at the Blagoy fight for instance, right? In round 3, he threw only 32 strikes. That's it. 32 strikes. He only landed 68 strikes and he threw 133 total. He threw 45 in the first, 56 in the second, and then he had a massive dump off in round 3. All right, so now let's look at Andrei Arlovski's last fight against Jake Collier. He threw 178 strikes. So he threw over 50 strikes more than De Lima. He landed 55% of those. So he was very efficient when he's throwing. And then you look at round 3, he still threw almost 60 strikes. He threw 58 strikes and landed 55% of those. So he's very efficient. He didn't land less than 50% of his strikes, 50% in round 1, 59% in round 2, and 55% in round 3. So you got a guy that's very efficient on the feet. That's got the cardio to go a hard 15 minutes against a guy that's going to fade after he comes out trying to knock Arlovski out. So I'm taking Arlovski. I think, like I said, no brainer at this line.
Yeah, I just think it's nice. I think it's a good line, especially for not having to do like a prop.
Right.
I
mean, you could even take a decision prop, and you probably get astronomical. No, it doesn't even do much. Literally, they're expecting him to win a decision because his decision line is plus 340.
Yeah, I mean, that's a decent line, but I mean,
it's not. Yeah,
but if he finishes him some weird way, then you're fucked,
he definitely can because the Lima's going to be gassed when he's trying to whiff at air, and he can't really find him because he's going to be at kicking range the whole time.
Yep.
All right, moving on. Our next fight up is in the middleweight division between Philip Haws and Roman Delitis. Right now, Haws minus 170, come back on Delitis plus 145. Yeah.
I'm really curious to see what you say about this fight. Haws has looked good as of late, but the old saying, why don't you pick on someone your own size? Well, in this one, Haws gets just that. He gets a meatier opponent. And while Delitis isn't getting finished by Cheyenne Buys, he did finish Kyle Dawkins. Either way, my point is his cardio should be satisfactory. I ultimately think the line is off. I think Delitis is getting overlooked because of Hawes's win, because it was a bit more memorable. And Delitis, he isn't exactly marketable. I think he's kind of been shadow banned, if you will, because he was caught banging somebody else's wife. While the Giles loss is a little bit suspect, I like Delitis at plus money. I think he wins by decision.
I'm gonna have to side with Phil Haws here. I think he's finally coming into his own. Now being full time at Kill Cliff, he's looking really, really good. He's very technical. He's got some of the best wrestling in the division. No one can take him down. So the chances of Delitis making this a grappling fight where he's the better jiu-jitsu guy is very unlikely he's going to be able to get this fight to the mat. And then when it comes to stand-up, I think Delitis, he's definitely got the height and the reach advantage, and he's got good kicks, but the power advantage definitely goes to Haws, all day, every day. And just going to come down to who's got the better cardio. I know Delitis definitely fades as fight goes on. We know Haws does as well. But you have Haws, who's actually beaten better competition. He's fought the better competition. He's finishing guys now. I just feel like this is his time to rise to the occasion and get the job done. Also, Delitis, good fighter, but he's got other things going on outside of just fighting. He's got businesses. He's got other things going on. I don't think he's as dialed in as somebody like Phil Haws is right now. I think Phil Haws is at his peak. And yes, and while Delitis is coming with a really good knockout over Kyle Dawkins, I just don't think he's going to be able to. I don't think lightning's going to strike twice in this matter.
We'll see.
We'll see. Forrest Daniels he thinks.
Go ahead.
Haws. Forrest Daniels saying he thinks Haws has wrestling and the KO power to get the job done. I also do agree there, because he does have the wrestling if he wants to take it there. He does have the wrestling to take it there and stifle Delitis off his back. He's done it to Imavov. He's done it to Kyle Dawkins as well. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
I'm excited about that fight just because I kind of went back and forth, but I settled with Roman just because I feel like he's getting the extra cardio in. I think that's going to be a major factor, and he's gonna show up for the full 15. You can't keep
like he does in the bedroom, right?
Yeah, you can't keep a lady like that happy unless you're good for the full 15. That's the rumor. I'm not saying I know. I don't have any inside info, but you guys can read between the lines. Thanks for tuning in today. I appreciate it.
All right, let's keep the train going.
Literally.
Our next.
Hey, Sean.
Our next fight up is in the light heavyweight division between Dustin Jacoby and Khalil Roundtree. Right now, Jacoby minus 170 to come back on Roundtree plus 145. What you got?
Minus 170 is a gift, man. It's hard not to roll with Jacoby here. Roundtree, that's what they should call him. Roundtree shows up when he wants, and more often than not, he shits the bed. He's looked decent lately against mediocre competition, but I think that train stops here. Jacoby can take a punch, and I'm positive he can handle anything Khalil throws at him. Jacoby can fight all 15. So if Khalil empties the tank, look for Jacoby to capitalize in round 2 or round 3. Like I said, minus 170 is and was and will be a gift, but I think he gets it done via KO late round 2, round 3. Let's go. Jacoby is a cash money maker, and I'm gonna roll with this guy until he's not in the UFC.
Yes, I bet on Jacoby in every fight in the UFC. Not his contender fight, but every fight in the UFC, and he has not disappointed me at all. I think this is a tailor fucking made matchup for him. He's going against Roundtree, who he was already wanting to fight. Roundtree denied it because obviously it was a hard fight. He had no number next to his name. Now Roundtree wants to fight because Jacoby has a number next to his name. So he's like, fuck it, let's go. And I like that about him. And he's willing to fight anybody and anybody. He's one of the best strikers in the division. I don't think Roundtree is going to knock him out. So if he doesn't knock him out, his path to victory is extremely limited. So you're taking a guy that must win by knockout at plus 145 against a guy that's faced very heavy punchers over his last couple fights and didn't get dropped not once. He even beat Michael Olajejczyk without kicks because his knee was fucked up. You're talking about a guy that utilizes kicks more than almost anybody in the division, fought primarily boxing against a really good boxer in Michael Olajejczyk and beat him. No less. Okay. So I don't expect Jacoby to lose a kickboxing match against Roundtree. It's just not. I just can't fathom where he would lose that. He went toe to toe with Alex Pereira in Glory Kickboxing. Okay. No one's got more power than Alex Pereira right now. Okay. So I think he could take a punch for a Roundtree. Jacoby gets the job done. I got a minus 155 earlier in the week, which was a fucking steal. People are still betting on Roundtree. They see something in him. Have fun with that, but Jacoby's going to run circles around him. I'm sorry. Just the way it is.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Just like I was sorry that Islam had to do what he had to do last week. Sorry, not so sorry, actually, because that was fucking a thing of beauty. And I will remember that for the rest of my life, guys. I will never call something. I will never call something so good than that. I would never call anything better. I'll just put it that way. That was like my one and done for my entire life, that I call something so perfectly. But we'll keep it moving. All right, moving on. Our next fight up is in the middleweight division between Josh Fremd and Tresean Gore. Right now, Fremd minus 150 to come back on Gore is plus 130. Who do you got?
Gore is on a 2-fight losing skid since joining the UFC, and that doesn't stop here. Fremd is big and long and uses his range very well. While Fremd wasn't able to get started against Hernandez, I think he'll showcase why a lot of savvy bettors were high on him going into that fight, current company included. Both guys are young and skilled. I just think Fremd's style may be a bit of an issue against Gore or for Gore. And like we saw in Gore's last matchup, if you connect flush, he's going down. And this fight is all timber, my man. We're looking at Josh Fremd via KO happening, knocking out Gore. It's going to happen.
See, I feel like I'm gonna have to disagree with you here.
You're going against your boy.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I think we're gonna see a much better version of Gore here. He's switched camps. He's gone away from his family for a while. He's gone to a better place. I think he really took this fight seriously. He's training with far better fighters now. I forgot where he's training at though. It's not Factory X. It's the other one that's kind of in that area. Isn't it in like Texas or something like that? One of those, but I don't know. But anyways, he's getting in better work and he's got the power to knock out Josh Fremd. Fremd has been knocked out multiple times. He leaves his chin way the fuck up in the air. He gets hit like it's nobody's business. He got fucked up by Hernandez. I know he was on the ground for most of it, but when they were on the feet, Hernandez was landing some heavy shots. And I expect if Gore lands some heavy shots, he's going to knock Fremd the fuck out. And right now, Gore by knockouts plus 375. I think that's a great line to take a little bit of stab because he's got that knockout power. I feel like we're going to see the best version of him. He's really hungry. You saw it in the interviews. He's extremely emotional. I feel this is his coming out party. I think he gets his first win here. Fremd definitely was underwhelming against Hernandez. Wasn't able to get started. Wasn't able to do really anything. Couldn't defend takedowns. Wasn't winning at distance. Even though he was much bigger, much taller than Hernandez, wasn't able to do shit. So I'm wondering what kind of Fremd we're going to get in here. I know Cody Brundage has already, his buddy Cody Brundage already beat Gore. So, they have some type of style, but now Gore is going to a completely different camp. I feel like you're going to see a lot of different wrinkles in his game that we've never seen before. Yeah, so I'm taking Gore via knockout, and I'm taking a little bit of a stab on a plus 375 line.
Gore also thinks that Yan won the fight too, so he does have that going for him.
Great. That's definitely going to sway my decision. Maybe I might bet a little bit more on that. No, I'm just kidding, but yeah,
I thought you'd take that.
Yeah, I think that was pretty good. All right, let's keep it moving. Next fight up is in the heavyweight division between Waldo Cortez Acosta and Jared Vandura. Right now, Acosta is minus 195. The comeback on Vandura, plus 165. What do you got?
Jared Vandura has some of the worst IQ in the history of MMA. Waldo likes to bang, so obviously look for Jared to engage and get knocked out. I like the guy. I like him a lot, actually, but that will be what happens. Fighter removed, Jared Vandura, Waldo Cortez Acosta via KO. And I think the last time I checked, it was plus 150.
Yeah, I like that as well. I think Acosta gets a knockout. Unfortunately, Vandura, I really like him. He's an awesome guy. I've talked to him before, interviewed, but he's just not UFC caliber, unfortunately. Costa, he was a professional boxer as well as an MMA fighter. He's got some legit power. He's extremely technical on the feet. And Jared Vandura he's gonna fight his fight. I mean, he likes to bang. He likes to throw down. He likes to get punched and throw punches. That's a recipe for disaster. If he's not grappling in this fight, he's getting knocked out. So I got Acosta winning minus 195. For him to win by knockout right now is minus 105. So
shit. Yeah, it was plus 150 the day before yesterday. So I'm glad I got that while I could.
Yes, you did. All right. Up in our co-main event is in the welterweight division between Max Payne Griffin and the Dirty Bird Tim Means. Right now, Max is minus 190 to come back on Means plus 160. Who do you got?
Really difficult picking between these two. When they work, but when they shit the bed, they really shit the bed. What's her name? Johnny Depp's girlfriend. You know what I mean? Means looked pretty bad against Holland, but hey, that was Holland. And Griffin, he looked decent against Magny, but he nearly lost to Carlos Conduit in the fight before. I feel like Griffin should be able to edge this one out on the scorecards, but considering the line and how both of these guys rarely give up, I think the fight going to the decision is the safest bet. Again, I like Griffin by decision, but I'm not that confident. I feel like Dirty Bird could steal this one, depending on the judges or what they see. Max is definitely the better fighter. That is correct, Forrest Daniels. But just go ahead and take fight does go to decision.
Yeah, I actually like that bet. And what's the line on that?
No idea. But I like Max
minus 135. That's not terrible.
That is not bad. It was higher earlier in the week.
Yeah, it's not bad, but I'm kind of confident that Max gets it done though. He looked like a brand new fighter against Magny. I think he got shafted. Dana White thought he got shafted, so they gave him his win money. So Max looked the best and technically should have a number next to his name. he should be in the top 10. He's looked the best he's ever have. He's looked like he's in an amazing shape for 36 years old. Meanwhile, Means looked in the worst shape of his life against Kevin Holland. That was arguably one of his worst performances from him as well. I heard he was coming into that fight with multiple injuries. I think he even came off surgery. He's now 38 years old, got a shit ton of wear and tear. I love to fade aging fighters that coming off injuries and getting finished in their last fight, no less. That's what I did with TJ Dillashaw. I told you all you guys not to bet on TJ. I said it from time and time again. He had multiple surgeries. It was going to be a terrible downswing for him. And I feel like the same for Tim Means here. He's 38 years old. He's on his last legs. This is one of his, maybe probably one of his last fights on his contract. And I think Max is probably in the best part of his career right now. He's 4-1 in his or 3-1 in his last four. Should be 4-4 in his last four, but and fighting somebody inside the top 10. But yeah, after this, he's not fighting anybody else. I mean, he needs to get a top 15 fighter again. He deserves it because I think he's going to look really good in this fight.
Yeah, speaking of TJ Dillashaw, I just want to touch on this. I heard the reason why his arm kept falling out of socket was because snakes don't have bones, and that's why it just kept falling out. So anyway, Tim Means is the type of guy that would take a fight in a bar and then hopefully and like bring a ref, So I don't think that this is the end of Tim Means, but I definitely do think, like you said, Max Griffin is probably in the twilight of his career.
It's just crazy because like this is arguably the best he's ever looked physically, mentally, and the way he's performing. It's just the best ever, and he's 36.
Yeah, which is wild. But I think that like Means versus Holland, he like you said, he looked horrible. But I feel like this is obviously this is a much different fight. So I think Means will look a little bit better, especially into round one. You could probably get Griffin live after round one if Means actually does something in round one. But I think that the decision is the play. Griffin by decision. I mean, Griffin could also finish him too. It's really hard to say.
I think Griffin has just more ways to win. He's shown that he can grapple now. He's wrestling. I mean, he's getting in good work with Anthony Hernandez. He's going over at Team Alpha Males doing work there as well, and he's got some power in those hands. I think he dropped Neil Magny or definitely hurt him pretty bad early on. They almost put him away. So I wouldn't put it past him. And we know Tim Means, he's tough as nails, but he doesn't move his fucking head at all. He just comes there and wants to brawl. So I don't think it's going to be wise to just brawl it out with Max Griffin, who I think could probably knock him out.
Well, it's funny because I remember breaking down that fight. It was one of the first fight cards that I jumped on. And I was like, well, beating Neil Magny is like banging the prom queen. And Max Griffin, you were not going to bang the prom queen this weekend. And then literally like he like rocked him. And I was like, oh shit.
He's banging the prom queen tonight.
He's raw dogging tonight, boys. But obviously we all know what happened, but that it made me eat my words, and I love that about fights.
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny. He's raw dogging tonight.
My wife is like, what?
All right, we are finally up to our main event in the featherweight division. Fight between Arnold Allen and Calvin Kattar. This is going to be a great one. It's a pick'em -110 across the board. Who do you got?
Yeah, I feel like this is one of those fights where you can put both guys in your DraftKings lineup and like do really well. Like you can take both the favorite and the underdog and just get like points because there's going to be a lot of significant strikes. Despite knocking out Hooker, Allen is a decision machine, and Kattar or Kattar, whatever the hell you want to call him, despite being skilled and looking like the winner, has proven that he can lose on the scorecards regardless of what happens in the fight. Now, I know Kattar has faced and beat the better competition, and he has the height and reach. But I'm going to have to side with Allen here. I like his pace, and if he doesn't find the finish late in this one, which is very possible, I believe he does enough to make it appear that he does more, a la Sugar Sean O'Malley. Either way, this is a fantastic main event, especially following up a huge pay-per-view card that we just had. This is a great main event. This is a fight for the fans. This is a fight for the non-casuals, and both of these guys, man, I love to see them fight. So I think this is going to be a good one. Who is the real winner, Garrett? The fans.
This is gonna be a scrap. I'm definitely looking forward to this fight. It's gonna be back and forth for 25 minutes. You're gonna get to the end, you're gonna be like, I have no fucking idea who won.
yeah.
Like, it's gonna be that type of fight because it's gonna be that close. They're both evenly matched in almost all areas. Calvin Kattar's the better striker, better boxer, more technical. I think Allen's got a bit more power. But Allen's tenacious. He's going to come forward. He's super durable. Both guys are super durable. Allen's the better grappler, the better wrestler. Kattar's got good takedown defense. So it's just going to be fuck all know who gets the job done. I personally kind of like Allen. I think the youth. I think his pace. I think him coming forward all the time, being able to mix in some takedowns and wrestle a bit to kind of wear out Kattar. I feel like that's going to be the deciding factor for him to win a decision. Arnold Allen to win a decision is plus 240. That's not that bad. But I think a safe bet is just to take this fight goes the distance. I don't think either guy is going to get a finish. They're both extremely durable. And the fight that goes the distance is minus 130. I'll take that all day.
Why not?
I think that's a great bet. Either one of these guys can win on the scorecards, but I'm expecting this fight to go or you can even honestly you could take over 4.5 rounds, and just in case that the little time there. But I mean, because over 4.5 rounds is minus 135 in its own right. Even over 3.5 rounds is minus 175. I like that too. But yeah. I like the fight to go the distance. I think that's the safer bet. And I feel like this is going to be a fantastic fight. Probably the winner is going to get, Volkanovski whenever he comes back and fights for 140. Actually, no. The winner is probably going to get Josh Emmett for the interim title. And then whoever wins the interim title, obviously is going to fight Volkanovski.
Unless it's Kattar, then I don't think they're going to do the Emmett fight.
Yeah. It's got to be Arnold Allen.
Yeah, it has to be. Otherwise, it'll be something weird where they jump a fighter that hasn't fought Josh Emmett, and it's just going to be.
No, what's going to happen is this: it's if Kattar wins, he leapfrogs Emmett, he fights for the belt.
Yes.
If Allen wins, Allen's going to fight Emmett for the interim, and then they fight Volk.
Yeah.
That's the way it goes because they're always going to shit on Emmett. That's just what they do. They shit on, they didn't even give him a seat in the front of in the front of the bus. Okay, his ass had to be all the way in the back because at the fights he was literally had to be up with the fans. He couldn't even be down with the fighters when they watch the fights.
That's because he has a weird chest. Like he has a really weird chest, and he also kind of looks like if I told my kid to draw a vampire. Like that's what they would draw. It would look like Josh Emmett. Like that's why.
Sure, we'll go with that. But but yeah, guys, that's our breakdown. UFC Vegas 63 on tap this weekend. I believe starts at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on ESPN Plus. But before we go, guys, you gotta head over to PrizePicks. Use promo code Props Live for 100% deposit up to $100. Guys, a lot of great stuff there. It's more or less super, super simple way to play games over there. Easy money. All you got to do is just add them together. You get 3 in a row. You win 5 times your money. You get 4 in a row. You win 10 times your money. $10 wins $100. Simple as that, just more or less. Head over to PrizePicks.com and use promo code PropsLive. And we need you guys to go to Playmaker on all social platforms. Give them a like. Also subscribe to the Playmaker podcast network on YouTube there. And we will be back next week, as always, breaking down more fights, putting money into your pockets, and we will see you then.
Hey, who the fuck is Lee Bevins?
I don't know. Fucking Lee Bevins. We're out of here, guys. Thank you for joining us.
Durden.
We'll see you then. Adios.